Yeah, Dustin, Elliott, been in Austin for the last 24 years, came to go to University of Texas and never left. My wife and I have been at Austin Ridge Bible Church. When I first got to Ridge, I sought out Pastor Brad and we went and played golf and he asked me to be in a discipleship group. I spent the next 18 months every Wednesday morning together going through the whole Bible with 7 other guys. And frankly, Patrick, that changed my life. I really had known God in very limited capacities, kind of a fan of Jesus more than a follower of Jesus up until that point in my life. And, that really got me all in. Really from that point on, everything's changed in my life. I would say my life mission at this point is, to make disciples locally and reach the unreached globally. First got connected to Keystone kind of soon after you checked out Austin, right? Coming out of DC as the Lord was calling you to maybe see if this expanded and worked well in other markets. I've done a lot of work for a number of years through Bless Foundation, and then I host the Unreached podcast. And so we've spent a lot of time finding and funding the task remaining, right? So 17,000 people groups on earth and roughly 7,000 are still kind of unreached, meaning very limited access to the gospel, to churches in those groups. 700 are still unengaged. And the traditional model of getting to those groups has been business people, marketplace, go work, make money, give money to the church, send missionaries go get into those other countries and go find those people and learn their language and learn their culture and translate the Bible. And we've made a lot of progress in the Great Commission doing it that way. But I think the task remaining, what's left to be done, is going to require new methods. And I think the most compelling of those new methods is traveling on the wings of business. And so when you can take a business that's operating with excellence, that's for profit, that has purpose and has intent, and is therefore welcomed into a country that might be otherwise closed off to missionaries and the gospel, that's a business that we want to fund. And you might call it a double bottom line or a triple bottom line, but you've got purpose in the business, you've got for profit, and then you've got an environment with the government of that country where they're excited about them being there, not where they're hiding from the regulatory body. God owns it all, right? And he's not just, our purpose here isn't just to work and give 10% back to the church. He's really interested in all of us, our whole heart, and all of our time, talent, and treasure, which we are created in his image, and he's given us a purpose to fulfill. So if you agree with me that the task remaining will largely be accomplished and the work will get done through business, then in your stewarding some of God's assets, then you need to be looking for companies to invest in that are doing that work, that are getting into those closed countries, getting into those parts of the world, and again, operating a business with excellence, but also bringing the gospel and discipling the community that they're in. And so Keystone, candidly, is an access point to introduce and meet some of these founders and some of these companies that are doing that. A lot of the heavy lifting is done by you and your team, where you're finding these or other members of the community are introducing these opportunities. You're doing a kind of a shallow vet in the beginning to figure out, are you real and are you operating on purpose and on mission? And if so, then we do a pitch, then we have Q&A, then we vote if we want to get deeper dive into that business. And that whole process is, I think it's redemptive in a lot of ways. It helps us invest with excellence. It helps the founders see that we have a real heart for this, that we care about them. I think as a founder, I've had a couple of businesses. What better investors could you find than those who have an alignment with your faith, who are actually going to pray for you, who really care about you? And candidly, there's a lot of exits in this room. There's a lot of experience in this room, right? So that ecosystem that God has built through you is incredibly compelling. And thus far, it's been a real pleasure to be a part of it.